Welcome, friends, to Wild Cottage in Ireland. Well, the lake isn't right at Wild Cottage, but it's near enough. In this little vlog, we've recorded clips throughout mid-April. There's a little bit of knitting, some nature, as you see, and there's natural dyeing, and also a little bit about how the progress is going in the natural dye garden. In about mid-May, I should have a proper knitting podcast available for you. I've finished lots of things and I'm nearly finished my first garment, so I really want to show that to you. Also in that podcast, we'll have an update about all the wonderful prizes that are coming for the giveaway. Enjoy. This is the book that I'm working out of a whole lot, and probably a lot of you know it. It's Wild Color by Jenny Dean. And I have several more books on order. I'm really excited about coming in from different secondhand bookshops. I've been sowing more flower seeds today, and I've also been doing a bit more dyeing with the daffodils. And I'll show off my lemon there real quickly, and I'll show you. This is my friend Tom and Mimi. So this little section here is our mini fruit garden. We're going to expand it, but we're finally getting down to the point where Tom has taken these old fence posts and made a little border, and now we're just cardboarding it. I say we, Tom is cardboarding it to kill off the grass and the weeds.
It's the royal we.
The royal we, yeah. And so we have a plum tree, a Victoria plum tree here. It's often pollinated by our damsons that have been here for a long time in the secret garden. I have 2 different cherries. I'm hoping to have some more cherries this year. Had a few last year. They're only young trees, and I'm just they're just from like Lidl and Aldi, the cheaper ones. And I'm just keeping them kind of pruned so that they're within, picking distance without getting large. I'm going to have to prune that plum over there too. But with the stone fruit, you don't prune until summer because you want to avoid silver leaf disease. Anyway, so we're covering that in. Got 2 blueberries I'll stick in the ground there. We're on acidic soil, so they'll be super happy. But let me show you what I was going to show you, which is my daffodils. So this is my messy dye area outside. Inside the barn there I have my induction hob. So I've got a few little pieces of just scrap wool that I had in the barn from fleeces blowing about, which I think it's some that I had washed and come apart. I've got combed top that I bought from a supplier in the UK a couple years ago as part of my breed study. So it's Cheviot, and it is actually a superwash. So I wanted to try a superwash wool since I had it. I had gotten a regular Cheviot and a superwash Cheviot to spin both of them and see what would be the difference in spinning them. So I thought that's because superwash often takes up dye that bit better. Again, gardening fingernails. So takes up dye a bit better than just regular wool because of the way the chemical process that strips the wool that makes it superwash. So I wanted to just try and see. And then I have a little bit of hand spun in here, which is just some sort of random Irish wool. It's about 30 grams of that. And so they're soaking just in water. And then this I simmered up my daffodils, and that looks pretty mucky in the pan. That's my daffodil dye water there. And I had about 200 grams of daffodil flowers in that. So here's the state of the barn. That's a big ton bag of fleece. There's more fleece back there. Those are all fleeces, Irish sheep fleeces, and there's more. Somewhere else there's even more. Let's not talk about that. This is my very messy dye area. So I'm gonna mordant the wool. I'm gonna use the cream of tartar and a little bit of alum powder in there. I am going to explore more. I'm going to research more about maybe finding ways to use this less. Anyway, but I'm going to do 8% alum and 7% cream of tartar in the water to mordant the wool. And then I will probably throw in the actual dye bath a little bit of the bicarb of soda to just alkalize the water a little bit, because that can make the colors that bit brighter, is my understanding. And that's what I did last time. And there we have it. The fruit bed is done. Tom worked so hard all day doing that. And it's topped off with a beautiful compost, the EnviroGrind compost, which is a mix of like green waste and also fish waste that is then kept enclosed, and it's heated to a temperature of like 70 Celsius to kill off any weed seeds or bacteria, etc. It's good stuff. My wool gently simmering in the mordant, so that's simmering for about an hour, and then I'll just take it off the heat and let it cool and soak in it overnight. And then tomorrow, hopefully, I'll do the second batch of daffodil dyeing. Starting. Look at it's so blue sky, your jumper, your top matches on our wheelbarrow. So this is going to be the pathway with the gravel that goes in between the two kind of horseshoe shaped planting beds. Oops, I just tripped. And yeah, in the beds themselves we'll cover them with cardboard, and then the compost doing the no dig system. Yeah, so that's very, very exciting altogether. Yay! I'm in the barn, so it's kind of dark and we're not going to get the true colors. But this is my second time of dyeing with daffodil flowers. This is the first batch. Let's go outside. That's looking pretty true. So that's just some loose fiber that I had floating around in the barn. So the likelihood of it being either Romney or Galway, possibly a bit of white Jacob, they're all pretty high. I haven't investigated the fiber to see what it is, but it's just a small tuft. So this here is the top, the superwash Cheviot top, commercial top that I had. And this is some Irish fiber, some Irish wool, hand spun. And again, I have no idea what the breed of that was. Yeah, it could have been one of Sandra's Wensleydale crosses, or it could have been Romney. But this is the first dye bath, and these were all mordanted with a bit of alum and cream of tartar, and then I also put a little bit of bicarb of soda into the dye bath. And this is my second go of the dye water, the daffodil dye water, and I've just put in the other Cheviot top and another little batch of that mystery fiber, and you can see the color is really dull, and that's the way this looked when I first put it in. But it seems like once it gets to, it's just slowly raising up the heat, so once it gets to a gentle simmer, the color starts to change. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It won't be as bright as that probably, because this is the second go of the same dye bath. But it'll be fun to see how.
That's a pretty big stick there. You gonna manage that? Ow! I'm not carrying it. You found it. Come on. You take it home. I don't want it. Go on. No, I'm not taking it home. You take it. Go on. Ow! You go. Go on. It's pretty big, isn't it?
Hi friends. I thought I'd just do a quick little vlog here to show you something I'm really excited about that just arrived. So these are both, natural dyeing books. Natural Dyes by Judy Hardman and Sally Piney. And I'm quite excited about learning more and more about natural dyes. And this one, in Science of Natural Dyes, Principles, Experiments and Results by Joy Boutreau and Catherine Ellis. I love how it's a ring binder. so like, there is so much information in here. I'm really, really excited. Principles of the dye kitchen, rub fastness, wash fastness, textiles, printing. Oh my goodness. I'm really, really excited about this. And well, this just came in the post. I was knitting. Here is my beautiful Heartsease bag from Fairy Realm Yarns. You know I love those bags because I love the pockets. But I'm making progress on my Easy Goes It shawl. And that was I'm pretty sure that was I think it was a free pattern. And I got it on Ravelry, and I'm really enjoying it. And what I'm doing I'm not going to have it done in time, but I got inspired by Chevy Rouse Stuff podcast, the yarn coitus cow that she's doing. So my main sort of color is the dark crystal from Irish dyer, Northern Ireland, Dye Candy. Beautiful ball of that, and I'm holding it double, sometimes with itself and sometimes with some of the Felt Fusion, who is a dyer over in England, and she can be found on Etsy, and I believe she does also have her own website. This was part of my Christmas present advent calendar, and so I have 4 different shades that I'm doing. Not doing a great job of showing this, but yes. So it's going to be a shawl, and I'm super excited. And look at the little silver lining cloud that Dye Candy Hutch sent. She sent with my order of my Dye Candy yarn. It's really lovely yarn. It's really super soft too. It's beautiful. Like, this was the yarn held with itself, double with itself, and then it started to fade into the first part of the Felt Fusion. And yeah, so really excited. I've got a lot of up there pea seedlings that I'm going to plant in the ground today, and there's some there. So yeah, beautiful day, as you saw probably through the window. So I hope you're having a good day too. I might as well just continue along with this little vlog, because a lot of things are happening in the garden. This is a whole bunch of, that's actually bramble stems, but there's a lot of bramble roots in there that we removed from the secret garden here because they just take over like stink. And as you can see, you can probably see in the back there, that's a lot of brambles on the other side of those blackthorn and damson stems that were kind of laid. So there's so many brambles everywhere. Like, there's no shortage of brambles all over the acre and all around us. So I don't feel like I'm really depriving wildlife too much. So Tom starting to pull up some of the brambles that grow along here. We're gonna let the other natural things grow, even the nettles, but it's just the brambles are so prickly and they take over, and then they just, like, this was, I've totally digressed, but this was completely covered in brambles. And one of the reasons we called it the secret garden is because for the first 6 months we were here, we didn't know this really existed because it was just a thicket. So anyway, yeah, and look, the first of our bluebells in here are opening. That's the first clump that opened. And these are the natural bluebells. They're not the Spanish bluebells that are become invasive, and they hybridize with these bluebells and they take the scent away because Spanish bluebells are not scented. And they come in colors other than blue. And they're, there's nothing wrong with them as a flower, but when you plant them in places near the natural bluebells, or they're called the English bluebells, but these are Irish bluebells because we're in Ireland. And I'm sure they're called whatever bluebells in other countries. But, sorry, I've digressed. Oh, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. I was saying something about the bramble roots. So I know that you can, dye with brambles. Blackberries is what they are. You can dye obviously with the berries and the leaves and the stems. Now the books that I had Jenny Dean Wild Color, and I still have that book and it's very good. Now she doesn't talk about the roots. So we kind of looked around online and saw that online people were saying that you can dye with the roots and you get an orange color, which was very interesting. But that's as far as the information went. Like we weren't able to find, is it color flashed? Does it need a mordant? Yeah, all these sort of things. How long do you need to soak it? I mean, I can kind of guess from what you do with other roots, but yeah, we couldn't really find any information. But I'm thinking maybe in these books that I just got, I might find, even if it doesn't mention blackberry roots specifically, once you kind of understand the chemical makeup and the pigments that are in the roots, or I guess chemicals is the best word, that are in the roots that would create a dye. And once I learn that, then I can extrapolate. So I'm not explaining that very well. So for example, and I'm going to get the terms wrong, but I think that so in red cabbage, so I think one of the pigments that creates the color in red cabbage is anthocyanin or something like that. Ignore the name of the thing because the name of the chemical, because that's probably not correct. But I've been reading that group of chemicals is not necessarily fast. It's a fugitive dye, so it's quickly going to fade. Like if it doesn't wash out straight away, it's going to fade really quickly in light. It doesn't stay. And if you learn about the composition of something else and the main coloring pigment is, say, XYZ, that is a fugitive color, then you know that, probably messing around, wasting your time and your yarn. Well, I mean, not necessarily wasting your yarn, but yeah, dyeing with that is probably not going to get you anything because the color is just fugitive. It's not going to last. So I really want to learn the sciencey bit behind it because I think it's going to really help with actually trying new things and dyeing them and understanding why something might work and something might not work. Because I'm much more interested in dyeing with things that are available to me, as in plants, versus ordering powders and potions. Like that's not my focus. Although I may try some of those, like the cochineal, to just try them. I mean, obviously, that's the insect that lives on the cactus. We don't have cactus here. So one or two things I might try like that, maybe to modify some colors that I dye. But by and large, my natural dyeing that I want to do here is just with actual plant material that I have harvested from the dye garden or from, in a sustainable manner, from the nature around us. So anyways, a lot of exciting learning ahead, which I love. But yeah, it'll take a while, but it should be fun. So if you have any tips, if you have any other good books that you've used or websites or just your own knowledge, I'd love to hear. I'd really, really appreciate it if you left them in the comments, because I know there are other people that will be interested in that too. Okay, so